Hi, my name is Cecilia Cardenas and I love architecture. I work for KTGY, which is an architecture and planning firm in downtown Oakland, not too far from your school. What do you think about when you hear the words architecture or architect? I'll be taking you on a journey through my experiences, how I got to college, how I decided to study architecture, and a day in the life of an architect. But before I talk about myself, I have to take it a ways back. My parents were born in Chavina, Michoacan, Mexico. Then they immigrated to the United States. I was born in Salinas, California, along with all of my other siblings. I come from a pretty big family. There's actually 6 of us. And it was always very important for my dad to talk to us about education. He was a field worker for a while, actually 15 years until he injured his back. His story is what influenced us the most. Despite the struggle of learning a new language and not having someone to guide him, he eventually graduated from a community college in Salinas. Seeing him do that made me extra confident that if he went to college, I could as well. And so can you. What actually drove me to study architecture was also a personal experience. We lived in a very cramped apartment growing up, and I always thought that the American dream would be, home ownership. You'd hear about that all the time. And so seeing the inequality, the disparity that existed with housing really drove me to try to improve that for people. So I get to work on that on the daily now. We're building homes for people where they're going to create their new memories, whether it's low-income housing or big multi-million-dollar projects. During high school, despite being extremely shy in the classroom, I was very outgoing. I participated in sports year-round, whether it was cross-country, soccer, track. I was part of the choir at school and also was involved with a lot of community service. And I really tried to just stay focused and get the best grades I could because I really wanted to go to a great university. So all of that played a role in my application process. So how many of you are involved in sports or in extracurricular activities? How many of you hope to be part of something new this year? Start thinking about those things. What really drives you? What are things that you just want to kind of be a part of? My point in all of this is that the things you do now really do play a role in that application process and getting to whether it's a community college, a technical school, a 4-year university. All of these things play a role now, whether it's good grades, just being involved, making yourself that balanced candidate so that you can reach those dreams. Never be afraid of trying new things. That's my biggest point. You might find you're passionate about something you never expected to enjoy. And I really think overall, I enjoy my day-to-day, and I'll get into a little bit about what that consists of more specifically. But as you're thinking about career exploration, really think of what do you enjoy. Although I knew I would qualify for some sort of financial aid, I knew I also didn't want to burden my parents with the responsibility of having to pay for college. It can be a little scary sometimes, and you think, oh, I can't afford it, I'm not going to even try. But in reality, there's so much help out there, and I can't emphasize that enough. I was lucky to have really great counselors at my school, and in the counseling office, they literally had this huge binder of just scholarship opportunities. So I started looking into that even, starting junior year. I would go in a couple times a week just to see if there was anything available that I would qualify for, whether even if it was even like a $100 scholarship or $1,000 or a full ride $40,000 scholarship. There were always opportunities out there, so you just have to make sure to ask and go for it. So my hard work did pay off. I ended up receiving a full ride to UC Berkeley, and because of that consistency of going in and talking to the counselors and just trying to be on it early on, it paid on in the end. And so I didn't have to stress out during college, and it was just the biggest relief to not only myself but to my family. You really want to make sure that when you do get to college that you don't want to worry about how to make ends meet. You want to be focused about your career and the classes that you're taking. So applying now and taking care of things now is really, really worth it. So I took an internship class that was offered at UC Berkeley. It was called Internship 101, and there was a bit of an application process, but it was a very small group of us, maybe 15 to 20 people, and we each got paired up with an internship opportunity in the Bay Area. And so I actually got paired up with KTGY. So I graduated back in 2012, and I've actually had the opportunity to continue working there ever since that internship. So the importance of internships, I can't emphasize that enough. That's really what helped me figure out if architecture was really what I wanted to continue doing. I had studied that in school, obviously, and had a bachelor's degree in arts from UC Berkeley for architecture. But at the same time, I had never actually been exposed to the real world, right? So that's always something that could be a little scary, but this internship, and that's why I would emphasize that internship opportunities are also super helpful in the process of career selection. But I was able to have a little bit more of that hands-on experience at KTGY, and they had a great internship program. So I was very fortunate to then, after that internship program ended, which was during my spring semester while I was still in college, I was able to then apply to their summer internship program. So I kind of kept working my way towards becoming a full-time employee there. I loved it so much, and I'm still there today. So you can see how internships could be really important in that process and figuring out if what I've studied at school is actually something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And so that exposure to the real world and working at an architecture and planning firm really helped me decide that, yes, this is what I really enjoy. And in many cases, if you end up in that position where you are trying out internships and you find out that, that's not something that you really want to do for the rest of your life, that's okay. You actually, figured out and kind of through this process, helped yourself in deciding what else is out there. And overall, it's really important to me, at least, to make sure I'm enjoying my day-to-day in my career. So selecting to be an architect for me was a perfect fit, but it might not be the case for everyone else, right? So we all enjoy different things. Just keep thinking about those things that you do enjoy, and then research a little bit more into that of, okay, how can I make this into a career? Are there already career opportunities that exist under that category? Or what else can I look into that might keep me excited about my job on a day-to-day? So next I'll talk a little bit more specifically of what my day-to-day actually consists of. So I work at a firm with studio setup. So it's a very open floor plan, and we have different teams. I work on the for sale production team. So that's what we call basically those that work on smaller, low density projects. When I say low density, think of small residential, single family houses, or multifamily townhomes, condos, that type of product. And on the contrary, there's a different team that works on high density, which means that they're doing more of the podium high density apartments. I want to take some time to show you all this 3D model that I've been working on. So this is one of our projects in Foster City. As you can see, there are multiple building types here. These are what we call townhomes. So we have, if you get a little closer, 3 units in this threeplex, and then the buildings kind of increase in size as we move along. So this is kind of how I've organized my file. This is a program called Revit. And you can see off to the side, we have all of the zoomed in kind of base files that we use to create that larger building. So this is unit by unit. And if you get even a little closer, you can see all that detail on it. So we're talking about guardrail heights and, things that are structural posts and the detailing of how we want these awnings to connect back to the building. Lots of little details that go into it, but at the same time, we're trying to mimic what our design team has already worked on and try to keep that same design intent that they, work so hard on
in our construction documents. So we'll model it up in Revit, which is this design program. Typically, the design team will pass it on to us. They'll have a 3D model as well in a program called SketchUp. Maybe some of you have heard of that. It's downloadable. You can actually download it for free offline, and start playing with some 3D shapes in there. And if you have any questions about that, you can definitely follow up with me later. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give you a little intro to this program, show you these 3D models. And really over here to the side is how we organize all of the sheets that assemble this construction document set that we work so hard on. And that construction document set is used then, it's sent out to the field, and it's basically a consolidated set with all of the engineer drawings, our drawings, all of the coordination that happens with the entire team to get these buildings built. And so that gets passed on to the field. So when it's approved by the city, the builders are ready to build. And so we'll have our permits in hand, and a lot of the times we get a chance to go out to frame walks. What we call frame walks are basically site visits where we can go double check that our work is being completed correctly. And so if there are any issues, we put on that kind of critical thinker hat and go out to the field and make sure that we're able to help the team out there do their job too. So it's a lot of coordination, but it's a lot of fun. You get to really be involved with so many different disciplines, and that's really what I enjoy the most.
My favorite part about my job is definitely the collaboration that happens amongst team members. We're just a small piece in the puzzle, and it's really fun to see all the pieces come together and eventually be able to point to something that you designed or helped create construction documents for, and to see that building come to life. It used to just be line work, but now it's an actual building, and people are going to enjoy it and create new memories there. And so, the greater significance of that home is such a great excitement to me to see it kind of come to life. At the field saying, hey, how does this detail come together? Or, hey, this might have actually been built wrong, made a mistake. How do we fix it now with, this new condition? So it's really fun still to put on that critical thinking hat and get out there and kind of try to help your team figure out how to best to build this house or this, rec center or whatever it is that we're working on at the time. So it's still exciting, and it's a rush to be, under pressure, but it could be a little stressful at times, and that just comes with the job. It's part of it. I think what I've found is that those stressful moments are always the best learning lessons. And so it's how do you convert those stressful moments, those hard moments, into something that you can really learn from and convert into something that's really positive. And they're probably the more memorable ones, which means that, they had a good impact on me. So even if I have hard moments or there's something that wasn't as enjoyable that day at work, it's still something that's helping me grow in my career. And so that's the exciting part too, right? So we're always growing, we're always learning, and your career doesn't have to end at this one point that's very marked. It's something that kind of gets developed throughout the years, and the more knowledge you obtain, the more you can be a resource for your teammates. And that's the fun part about being an architect, is that you are really helping design that future as a team. Thanks for watching, and best of luck in your career selection process.